All right, hey, shalom, shalom. Hey, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, all glory to the Heavenly Father and His Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders at Great Millstone. Salutations to you, Akin, pushing the work in truth and in sincerity. All right, salutations to the elect that scattered abroad. Okay, so the name of this lesson is the right mind, the right attitude, and the right desire. Okay, the inspiration comes from a beloved brother that I was in conversation with, and he said those three words, and I was like, "Hey, man, that's a lesson." And he pretty much blessed me to go ahead and go into it, But it was all a spirit anyway, having a very spiritual conversation, and those three words came up, having the right mind, all right, the right attitude, and the right desire. Okay, as it pertains to this truth, as it pertains to us growing individually. All right, we have to constantly be on the watch of these things, as the scriptures say. Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Know ye not your own selves. All right, and we're supposed to know ourselves to a degree. All right, so that we can watch out. For things like our mind, all right, and our attitude and our desire, because our desire can be displaced, our attitude can be uh, displaced as well, and our minds can be displaced, as the scriptures say in Jeremiah 17 and 9, which I'll get right here from my book. All right, Jeremiah. Okay, 17. All right, in the ninth verse, it says the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? All right, who can know it? All right, and that's just dealing with your mental faculties. All right, your mental faculties can be against you. All right, really quick, let's see. I like using the G and T at times. So let's see if I can hurry up and pull this up. All right, this is the G and T in the book of Jeremiah, the 17th verse. The 17th chapter, the 9th verse. Excuse me. And it says, how does Jeremiah 9, 17 and 9? All right. Chapter 17, verse 9. Who can understand the human heart? All right. There's nothing else so deceitful. It is too sick to be healed. That's one way of saying it. All right. But again, you battling your own mind. All right. And I have precepts for these these three these three these three things. Okay. So let's see here. We'll start with the attitude first. All right. Okay, because we know part of this truth. The biggest part of this truth is the affliction. Okay, the biggest part of this truth is the affliction. All right, and we're subject to it. All right, because it's likened unto our bodies, or how can I say it? The affliction is likened unto a purging. I'll say it like that. All right, so the word attitude. Okay, here I have it highlighted already, but I'll start up a little bit. It says a posture of the body supposed to imply some mental state, the sense of a settled behavior reflecting feeling or opinion. Okay, is by 1837 the meaning habitual mode of regarding. So that's what your attitude is. All right, your attitude can show for how much you regard something, how much you reverence something, how much you reference something. All right, and we call that body language. Okay, body language. All right, you know, and that's part of your makeup, and that's you know, part of your behavior. Okay, and your behavior has to be, you know, pretty much on point. Your attitude has to be on point. Okay, because your attitude reflects your behavior. All right, and your behavior reflects your reverence or respect or even fear. Okay, so let's go here because I got Bible verses about attitude, you know, and I chose a few of them. Okay, because whether you believe it or not, these are the things that the Lord regards. All right, these are the things that the Lord regards. Okay, and this is what He tested our people on. All right, so the first precept I want to read is Philippians 2:14, and it reads, it says, it says, do all things without murmurings, all right, and disputings, okay, that ye be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke, okay, without being having to being corrected, okay, or punished, okay, in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation. We wanted to make ourselves distinct from this crooked and perverse generation, all right, of this nation of Israel. Okay, it says, among whom ye shine as lights in the world. We supposed to shine as lights, and the scriptures say the world is covered in darkness, gross darkness, the people. And when you go into that word gross, it just goes into obscurity. All right, or excuse me, the word darkness goes into obscurity. All right, which means basically wickedness. Okay, and so we want to be distinct from that void. You know, we want to be distinct from that. That you may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke. Okay, so we want to, you know, be counted. We want the Lord to favor us. We want Him to bless our ways, and to like what the behavior that we have, to like our attitude when we go through certain things, and we go through a lot daily on a daily basis. All right, and that was the structure of the conversation I was having with this beloved brother, which I will not name. All right, okay, but you know, all in all, the credit goes to the Spirit of the Lord. All right, who speaks through us and spoke, you know, through this brother at that time. All right, because it hit home, something very spiritual. Okay, and something to be very mindful of. Do all things without murmurings and disputings. All right, what is one example that we can draw from when Israel was in the wilderness? Okay, that's the biggest example. All right, and while they were in the wilderness, for particular, I'll get a specific Salakia. I'll get a specific precept. All right, and that is Exodus. And Salakia. Exodus 15-22. Right, Exodus 15-22, and it says, so Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. And this is after the Lord saved us from the hands of the Egyptians, Montezarim. All right, which means Egypt going into bondage. All right, this is after the Lord done very seeable miracles, meaning we all seen them. All right, Father's seen all of these miracles, but they showed some of the disdain for the Lord because of certain situations they were put in, and this is important to be mindful of. All right, this is important to be very mindful of because of what it's about to say. Okay. So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. Okay. It says, and when they came to Marah, all right, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Okay. Therefore, the name of it was called Marah. So these waters were called bitter. All right. Not because, both because the waters were actually bitter, and also because the bitter taste that probably the Lord had towards Israel after what they do now. All right, verse 24. Excuse me. It says, and the people murmured against Moses, saying, what shall we drink? And he cried unto the Lord Yahweh, and the Lord Yahweh shewed him a tree, which when he had to cast into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. All right. And so right there he proved them. All right. And to prove something is what? To try it, to test it out, to see what it's about. And that's what the Lord did in that instance. To test, to prove, to try, prove, tempt, say. So he tempted them. All right. All right. And the word, the Hebrew word is nasa. Okay. To prove, to tempt, to assay, adventure. So just like you have certain tools, certain tools you have to break in, right? That means you have to use them multiple times. Okay. And that's what the Lord essentially did to his people. Whether he did it on the basis to see if they were worthy of entering into the promised land. All right. Because he wasn't just allowing anyone in that promised land. Keep note of that. All right. And have some reflection on that. And compare and contrast to what we have to do for our salvation. Okay. Because that's essentially what happened. The Lord saved them, brought them out of the land of Egypt, brought them through the wilderness 40 years. Of course, the generations died off. Why? Because they were complaining, they were murmuring. All right. So to attempt, all right, assay, try, to test, try, prove, tempt. And so that's what the Lord did. All right, in this instance. Okay. In this instance, Exodus 15:25, and he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord shewed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters, all right, into the waters, he says, the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. All right, there he tried them, he tempted them. All right, to see what their behavior, what their attitudes was like. And those that were spiritual, all right, and we mainly speak to those that are spiritual. They understood this, all right, and they showed appreciation, all right, and they showed diligence and readiness of mind, being in these certain situations. And you have to look at your situation, all right, having integrity and not complaining or murmuring, all right. Let's look that word. Let's look that word murmuring up. All right. And the word murmur is lawan. All right. Lawan. All right. So this ain't it. Okay. So this is it. Nope. All right. So Salakia. I don't know why it's not letting me get murmur. Because it's giving me something else. All right. So the word murmur. Okay. Here in Exodus, I do Exodus 16:8. Okay. Your murmurings. There you go. All right. says Talawa, Talawa, Tala, one, Lawana. Might have said that wrong. All right, murmuring. Okay, sense of obstinacy, a grumbling, murmuring. All right, it says complaining. Simply put. All right, Salakia. That took forever. Okay, so let's go back to these Bible verses. All right, which ones did I write down? Right. Also, this one here. Let me see, Matthew 18. All right. This is what Matthew 18:3 says. It says, and said, verily, I say unto you, here we go. Matthew 18:1, it says, at the same time came the disciples unto Yahushua, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Yahushua called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, all right, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. All right. So what does that mean simply? All right. And this is dealing with the attitude part. All right. Also the mind as well. Okay. Okay. So except ye be converted. What does converted mean? Strefo.
Strong's G 4762. Strefo.
Okay, to turn around. All right, to turn oneself, i.e., to turn the back to one. All right, and that's from your old self. The scriptures talk about that. Okay, getting rid of the old nature and putting on a new creature. Okay, of one who no longer cares for another. All right, metaphor to turn oneself from one's course of conduct. You see, going back to your attitude, your behavior, i.e., to change one's mind. Okay, and essentially that's what we have to do in this ministry, because if we don't have the right attitude, we can't learn and grow. All right, because learning and growing, all right, you got to have the right attitude to do so. All right, here it says under attitude in the regular dictionary, it says position, inclination, orientation. Right, orientation. You have orientation before you have, your classes. Right, this is approach, your approach, opinion, belief, persuasion, thinking, interpretation. All right, so all those things. Okay, Colossians 3:23. And then we're gonna try to make this quick. All right, because I've already made it kind of long. All right, Colossians chapter 3 verse 23, and I'm gonna kind of do some jumping around. Here is very, very simple, very basic. Colossians 3 and 22, servants, obey in all things. That's what we are. We're servants of the Lord. All right. So think of it as it in that sense. Slaki. Obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. So fearing the Most High Yahweh, because we know ultimately this is His work, and He's allowed us to be part of this truth. So we got to do things without murmuring. Also, be servants and obey in all things. Okay. Verse 23, it says, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. So we got to do it unto the Lord, do it with our whole hearts unto the Lord and not unto men. Okay. Because we're not men pleasers on that type of level. Work willingly at whatever you do. This is the NLT, Colossians 3:23, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. You see, and so that's why a lot of times it's hard for individuals to see the God see Yahushua in a brother. All right, because they can't see past the flesh. And they're not looking at it as working for the Lord. Rather, they look at it as working for another man. And they won't have themselves subject to another man, which in reality is stupid. Okay? That's stupid. Colossians 3:24, knowing that the Lord, this is KJV, knowing that the Lord, that of the Lord, ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance. See? Knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance. For ye serve the Lord Yahushua Mashiach. So remember that. Okay, so we serve the Lord. All right, we don't serve mammon. Though a man might be telling you what to do. Verse 25, it says, but he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of persons. All right, so the Lord don't put a person over everybody because, that person is a great person, But yet, the Lord, I'll just say the Lord looks in the inner man, okay? So it don't matter who you are on the outside. It matters what you're doing and who you are on the inside. A few more precepts. Oh yeah, I gotta jump. So verse 10, Colossians 3:10, it says, and have let's see. Colossians 3:8, it says, but now ye also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. Lie not one to another. We don't lie to each other. All right. We don't hold anger. We don't have wrath. We don't look at things with malice, with a hurt, or with a hate or disdain, which is blasphemy. All right. Filthy communication out of your mouth. All right. And that's dealing with, slander and things of that nature, saying things that's unright, unjust, because you got to know what to say at the right time. All right. The scriptures cover everything. All right. And we can't allow ourselves in being in this time and knowing that the Lord is an austere man. We can't leave it to guessing. All right. It says, lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds. All right. So that's the point. We converted, as Matthew 18 goes into, be converted, as you shall not enter into the kingdom unless you're a child. All right. And be converted, meaning turning back. All right. We're turning our backs on the world and the old man, as it says here, put off the old man with his deeds. Okay, so your normal behavior, the normal attitude, the normal reaction that you had. Okay, Colossians 3:10, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. All right, so that's how we're supposed to be, in the image of the Lord. And we have examples of how he was. He was lowly. All right, he wasn't a man that was as you say, a rah-rah, type person. He's very witty, very strategic, very civil in his ways. All right. His mouthpiece got him out of a lot of things. All right. And he was just, as he told us, to be as wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We don't have to touch anybody, harm anybody. And that goes to say, the more you know, the less feeling towards it you have as far as reaction is concerned. We don't act surprised at certain things. That's what I mean. So I'm gonna jump, same chapter, verse 17. It says, and whatsoever you do. All right, camera coming down. All right. And whatsoever ye do, verse 17, Colossians 3:17, whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by him, right? Okay, because you got to remember we serve in the Lord. You got to remember the Lord is trying. He's the one that's trying you. So you're put in certain situations because you're being tried by the Lord. Simple and plain, okay? Next precept is James. I don't know if I might split these up. But that means I got to do them right, one after another. All right. This is James 4:10. This is humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. Speak not evil one of another, brethren. He that speaketh evil of his brother. All right. And speaking evil is not correcting you when it comes to doctrine. Okay. Get that out of your mind. If you say something wrong according to doctrine, we have all right. All right. Because the scriptures talk about, we do this for what? Rebuke and correction. Give me a second. Because a lot of individuals hate the fact that the elders correct, and they attribute it to hating. All right. It says all scripture, this is 2 Timothy 3:16, all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, right? For teaching, for reproof, all right? So, here, let's look it up. I ain't even gonna guess. You've seen this word a million times and forget it, all right? Reproof, this is pretty much the same thing as correction. But it says, a reproof, a shame, disgrace, a censure to one's face, a rebuke addressed to a person, reproach, rejection, right? To blame, accuse, all right? Right? Because essentially that's what you feel when somebody corrects you, right? But that's scriptural. It lines up with what we do, okay? Disprove, reject, condemn, accuse, blame, accuse, charges a fault. All right. So reproof. All right, which is it's a part of the correction. It's like the phase, part of the phase that comes with correction. Right. Where was I? Yeah, that was the First Timothy. Okay. Right. So going back to James 4:11, speak not evil one of another, brethren. He that speaketh evil of his brother and judgeth his brother. All right. So I mean, you got an opinion about current situation about another brother. All right. Not knowing that's another man's servant. That's Yahweh Shai's servant. All right. So you don't know what he's going through, but most of the time, if brother's going off, you can correct him. Or if a brother's let's see, if a brother's going off, you correct him. And I keep it at that. And judgeth his brother. But if you got an opinion, there's another word for judgeth is an opinion. All right, for your brother, speak of evil of the law, right? And judgeth the law. But if thou judge the law, thou art not a doer of the law, but a judge. All right. So it ain't nothing wrong with correcting. All right. But if you look at your brother, in a different light other than, what he's saying out of his mouth. Okay. Let's see here. Next precept. Philippians 2:3. Did I bring this out yet? I don't think so. Yeah, here we go. Philippians chapter 2. I start at 1. All right. If there be therefore any consolation out in Hamashiach, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels of mercy, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglorying, all right, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. All right. Here's the point. The point, all right, is really Philippians 1-5. Okay. So I read it in the NLT. Philippians 2:1, it says, is there any encouragement from belonging to Hamashiach? Any comfort from his love? Any fellowship together in the Spirit? Are your hearts tender and compassionate? ? And it should be, all right? then make me truly happy by agreeing wholeheartedly with each other, loving one another, and working together with one mind and purpose. All right. And that purpose, that's kind of going into your desire. What's your desire? All right. The right mind, the right attitude, and the right desire. Okay. Our desire has to be towards this truth. Okay. All right. Don't be selfish. Verse 3. It says, don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. And that's how we have to be, because Yahushua was the perfect example for it. All right. It said, don't look out only for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. All right. See? So you're supposed to sacrifice your interest and look out for others' interests, all right? Which is very selfless. And that's what the Lord is creating, a selfless generation, the first fruits, the meek, the lowly, all right? The righteous, the ones that yearn for righteousness, all right? The ones that want to see his judgments, all right? Philippians 2:5, you must have the same attitude that Yahushua had. Watch what it says in the KJV. It says mind. Philippians 2:5, let this mind be in you, right? That attitude, which was also in Mashiach Yahushua, right? So in those three words, the right mind, the right attitude, the right desire is pretty much one and the same, okay? Because each one establishes the other. The mind is, you can say that's perception, how you see things. Attitude is how you act towards things and react towards things, and how you regard things. The desire is your focus. What is your mind focused on? And the scriptures talk about having your eyes single. All right. And it's like if I'm all over the place. All right. So Hebrews 13 and 15. And it reads, it says here, it says, by him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to the Most High continually, that is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. All right. And you can equate this towards, the attitude as well. All right. But to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices God is well pleased. That's right. Okay. Obey them that have the rule over you. Yep. So, let's see, Isaiah 26. Isaiah chapter 26, verses 3, it says, thou will keep him, Isaiah 26:1, it says, and that day, Salaki for the background noise, man. Every time I get ready to close out, but it's all good. It says, Isaiah 26:1, in that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation will God appoint for walls and bulwarks. All right. Look at that, man. Satan. All right. So Salaki, man. Just clean this thing off. It shouldn't even be falling, but it is what it is. I hold it. Okay, verse 2, it says, Isaiah 26:2, it says, open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. Okay. All right. It says, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. That's right. And your attitude will reflect that, whether you trust in the Lord or not. All right. And that's something for your mind as well, because in order to be sure, you have to constantly ponder on, all right, you got to constantly have the right desire. Okay. It has to be the right thing. Okay. We can't do this truth for, vainglory. We're doing it for the reward of the kingdom. And that's the sacrifice of our lives in this lifetime. All right. Verse 4, it says, trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Yahweh is everlasting strength. Yeah, for he bringeth down them that dwell on high, the lofty city He layeth it low. He layeth it low, even to the ground. He bringeth it even to the dust. And that's right. And the Lord is bringing this place into confusion. He's bringing it low, and eventually He's gonna thresh it. He's gonna cut it low. All right, by way of thermonuclear fire. All right. So it's more, but let me see here. I got James 1:8. 19 and 15. And then let me get James 1:8. Psalms 119 and 15. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. That's right. Okay. And this is dealing with somewhat, of the mind, having a mind occupied. All right. It'll keep those desires on your frontlets. All right. It says, I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. That's right. Say, Lord willing, this has been edifying. I'm going to have to cut it short and slack on that. I might have to, finish this out, do a part 2. And with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. Until next time, I'll say shalom. Give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, a great millstone. Salutations to you, Akim, pushing the work of truth and sincerity. Shalom.